Well, as always, better a little late
Can
than never.
almost hear you. I can almost hear you. That music.
Yeah? Are you there?
Sounds like we have a sound loop today.
Is it echoing?
No, it's delayed by about 10 seconds or 15.
Ah, from when I speak until you hear me right there through your little ears. Well, welcome to the Aging Better Network, and it is April. This is the first show of April.
I think we're going to have to start over again because I'm hearing you talking from about 10 or 20 seconds ago. Can we go out and try one more time?
Wow, because I'm hearing you real time in this. So why don't you leave
Yeah,
and come back in? Why don't you leave and
I will do that.
leave the studio and come back in? All right. So with that, I'm just going to put this image up because we are live at the Aging Better Network, agingbetternetwork.com, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, where Christine Smith talks about different aspects of aging. And you can always find more at agingbetternetwork.com. There is a ton of information there. So you can learn about what's going on, and there's videos, there's podcasts, there's information, there's events, there's a link to links. So you can go and get all kinds of resources. And then there is plenty of information about what is going on in the world of aging. And so with that, let's bring Christine back in. There you are. Now you're real time.
I know what happened.
Ah.
We were having a little too much fun beforehand, and it began playing. So even though I jumped in the right spot, my other one was playing. So now I know what's going on. You know what? Somehow this is going to braid in, like over, grab the third one over. It's going to braid in to our live stream talk today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well,
talk about intentionality. That's kind of a premise that you handed to me. That you said what you're talking about is being intentional about aging. And you said that to me, I don't know, a year or two ago. And so, and I've thought that's kind of the way that I've been. People have commented about, I've never seen someone be so intentional about the way that they approach something. You know, I have to remind myself to be more spontaneous. So if I just looked up and seen what was highlighted, I would have gone, yep, it never happened. But instead, I'm just talking to you and going, why am I hearing you delayed?
so you had it playing on LinkedIn or YouTube, and it
right.
and so you were hearing that as opposed to here we are on StreamYard, and you can see in the upper right.
I was thinking I was going to read your lips. Oh my goodness. That reminds me. Last night, our son was saying, I know we have the DVD of the movie that we all went to watch because our daughter is here in town for a couple of reasons, and so staying at our house. And we all three of the four of us decided that we were going to oh, hi, Charla. Oh boy, did you see how this started? We all decided that since we were three of the four of us wanted to play Life, one of the four of us wanted to play Uno. So of course we played Life, the game of life. So perfect. And of course, at the end of the game of life is the retirement. Are you going to go to this retirement place? Are you going to go to that retirement place? And, all your money, you get to count up, and whoever is the richest at the end with all their diversified funding and everything is supposedly the winner of the game of life. So anyway, we started quoting while we were playing this game. We started quoting a movie that came out a couple decades ago. I'm not sure. I think at least 15 years ago. And it's My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And one of the first words that are spoken was from Gus, the father of the main character, who looks at his 30-year-old daughter, who is up early in the morning and yawning to work at the restaurant that she's worked at since she graduated from high school. And he says something like, "You need to get married. You look so old." And immediately I'm thinking about where I'm coming from. It's like, how often do you come up to a person and say, "What have you been doing? You look so old today." How did you manage this? Where did, what have you been doing that I want to do? It's usually the opposite. And that has been noticed by a lot of people in the aging industry, that old means bad, means something to be avoided, something that you don't want showing, whether it's your sofa or yourself. Oh my goodness. So I'm wondering, were there any other quotes that pop into your mind from My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Well, having our daughter just getting married last September, there's the quote that I love is when Gus is giving the toast at the wedding, and he talks about the meanings of the names of the two families, and he says this one means apples and this one means oranges. He says, and so you have apples and oranges, and so there you are. He goes, but in the end, we're all fruit.
That's
So he says, yes.
right.
So we're different, but really, when you get down to the essence, we're the same. And so whether you're young or whether you're old, whether you feel young, whether you feel old, down on the inside, we're all the same.
So I wrote down a quote from earlier this morning. You were talking with your friend Russ, and of course I can watch it, I can listen to it in on my earbuds, and I can also hear you in your office. And you said to Russ, "You're only as old as you." Do you remember what the last word was? I can see your mouth moving, but I
There we go.
cannot hear you.
Yes, yes. You're only as old as you act.
Yes, I think that's a slight twist. What I remember is you're only as old as you feel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I changed it a while back.
Wow, that works perfectly because I am using that once again, trying to avoid feeling old, trying to avoid old issues, trying to, you're only as old as you act. It's like, boy, I need to act young. What do I remember what young acts like? And that's so perfect to bring up the book that I wrote. And I think that up and coming, not this Friday, but next Friday, the 15th of April, 2022, I think that I'm going to be with you, but in a very different, I mean, you're going to be in charge.
Yeah, we will be going live on Amazon. We'll also be on LinkedIn. We'll be on my LinkedIn. So that's D. Scott Smith. You can find me on LinkedIn. But the best way and the most fun way to watch is to go right to Amazon Live. And so I've made it easy for you to do that. You can go to motivationallistener.live. Actually, put in www.motivationallistener.live. That will take you right to the Amazon Live channel, and you can see the author interviews there that I've done, but also this one coming up on Friday the 15th. It's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so 1 p.m. for those of you on the East Coast. We will be going live with Christine and talking about her book, The Act of Aging, Volume 1. And I'm going
You're
to put that back
only
up on
as
the screen here.
old as you act,
Mm-hmm.
which puts the control in your hands. So I like that better than you're only as old as you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've literally heard 31-year-olds going, man, I feel so old today. And you're like, because you have extreme diagnoses? No, I don't know, the kids sleep, whatever. And so you're only as old as you act. And that is probably why I've had friends, literally friends, 96 years old, that I couldn't wait to go visit, because I was thinking, what new thing are they going to tell me? Or what do I get to assist with that I don't get to do at my own house? So it's kind of more fun if you're doing something, doing a chore or doing a project somewhere else, So some of my best friends are 96. I like that. I am so grateful. I am so grateful for LinkedIn. There are people that I've gotten to know through LinkedIn and through you through LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So networking. And so I have this message this morning from Andrea Weckerly, and she's in the DC Baltimore area. She's in Washington, DC. I never know what to call it, if it's a business, if it's her concept. But anyway, it's called Ready When Stuff Happens.
Mm-hmm.
Ready when stuff happens. So she really understood my concept of intentionally walking into aging with your eyes wide open from the standpoint of emotions and relationships, instead of I just, don't talk to me about that stuff, just let it happen. She really understood that and came on as a podcast guest, which you can see at the agingbetternetwork.com, agingbetternetwork.com, which also you can find the upcoming interview there. So agingbetternetwork.com/home. And so she gives me this message and she says, oh, there's this new book coming out that you should take a look at. So, I told her, I'm going to look at it right now. I immediately start flipping through the pages and looking at what was there. I thought, who is this person? They know all these things that make sense to me, but they're coming from a researching standpoint. And it turns out that this person's name is Becca Levy, Levy, Becca Levy. She's a PhD. She's an instructor at Yale, and she does research on aging. And it isn't maybe the first thing you think of as more scientific or medical. What I was seeing was more human research. And she talks about in her book how she gets to come up in front of her class and just asks them, kind of empty your mind for a moment and basically come up with 5 words about getting old, or someone who is old. Just think of an individual or old persons that in general. Come up with 5 words. And then she spends the rest of the term or the semester helping people to see that there are implicit biases. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read her book. And I immediately reached out to her. So I'm reaching out to her again, Becca Levy, instructor at Yale, who I'm already jealous of because she gets to talk with people who are at the age that when they can't find their keys, they just think, oh, where did I leave them? She says in her book, if you are not my student's age, if you are at an age that's past typical retirement, you start to worry. You start to check your ability to remember other things. You know, what's the date today, and who's the president, and all the things. Am I remembering things? And so there's a difference from one particular age group to another particular age group, and that the two groups can kind of look at each other in different ways, look at themselves in different ways. She's done a lot of research, and she has the perfect place to do this, a university with people all different ages. Her colleagues, I'm sure, go up probably past 65. And so she's lucky, and I'm jealous of her, to hang out with young,
I love it.
young people, and to hang out with her colleagues, and to hang out with people who are decades older than she is, and just be able to collect information on aging and on the biases and on the mental. So if I'm going to say it right, breaking the aging bias, I think. I'm going to have to look that one up.
Mhm.
Breaking the aging code. Breaking the aging code. So there's some encoding that happens throughout life when someone like Gus says, you look so old. And you think, boy, this sets the stage for an entire movie. What is that about? And why do we do that as a culture?
Well, excuse me. So, this is one of the benefits of going to the agingbetternetwork.com, because there are plenty of resources there to learn about the aspects of aging. And as we continue in today's show, we always want to talk about one aspect of aging. And you bring us, I know in your journal, it is going to be released on Amazon pretty soon.
Mhm.
You talk about 52 different aspects of aging and give people a chance to explore those for themselves. But each week you bring one to us here on the Aging Better Network. So, Christine, what is this week's aspect of aging?
Don't let me forget. It is calendar coordination. It's like, what does that have to do with aging? I'm going to put in a quick plug that I meant to say just a few moments ago, and that is when you go to the Aging Better Network and scroll all the way down to guest appearances, my husband, producer, and co-host has very cleverly put in the recording of my talk, my presentation to the Caring Conference, Treasured Transformations, Denise Brown, and he put that in there. She released it to all of us, and he put that in for me. I haven't even gone and looked at it yet. I had to ask him this morning, is it in there? I haven't been to my own network lately.
It is there. If you go to
I think that's part of having family around.
Yeah. So on guest appearances, we have the upcoming areas we can see Christine, but also recordings of past appearances. And so the one at the top there from the Caring Conference, the video is available. So if you were unable to attend, and the conference was free, and so we're happy to be able to share this recording of the presentation that Christine gave to the Caring Conference. And also below that, you can listen to interviews and other places where Christine has been a guest. And so that is all available at agingbetternetwork.com. Go to the guest appearances page. So the aspect of aging, what's that? Oh, we were talking about the calendar
coordination.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of braiding, have you ever braided anything? Just does it pop into your mind? Do you have muscle memory of how to braid?
Absolutely. Yep, yep. We have braided for our dog. We took old socks, tied them together, braided them up,
Yes.
and loved playing tug of war with our dog with braided socks.
Right. So the socks were yay long, and they seemed to be much longer because you were able to tie a knot at each end of those 3 socks braided together. And it had there's one thing, it had a thickness that just 3 socks laid together don't quite have, or if you just kind of flop them or gobble them up. There's uh, a tensile strength or something there.
Mhm.
And I know that there has to be tension. That's why it was so difficult for our daughter to live through having her hair braided again and again and again, because she'd end up with, you know, 75, 125 little braids. And she had to pull away from me in order for the braiding to happen. You can't do it loosely. You have to, there's got to be some pulling. So calendar coordination, there is going to be, that was so perfect. Thank you. Good job. There has to be a tug of war.
Mm.
But just like with our dog, it was for a reason. It was interaction. It was exercise. There has to be a tug as you braid these things together. So calendar coordination as you're aging is threefold: theirs, mine, and ours. And it's for a variety of reasons. And there can be difficulties as you feel as an aging person. Why are they getting all up in my business? Why do they need to know where I'm going to be and exactly what time? Do they think I'm going to get lost? Do they think that I'm forgetting? Do they want to know every single private detail of my life? I've been taking care of this all the way along. And there's also wonderful reasons for calendar coordination as you age. It's keeping yourself in the loop. Yes, you aren't there for every activity or every award ceremony. You can't be there for everything that's going on with all of your friends or all of your family, but it's nice to be kept in the loop when you see them again, because you've jotted that down in your calendar. Then you can say, so how did that go? If you're having difficulty remembering, or if it's just that your life has gotten so much bigger as you age, because you used to just have this many people, and now they all have their own little people. And you're just trying to keep it all in your mind. Plus, you want to get to those baby showers or what have you. And then there's the hours part. So it's their calendar, what they're doing. You want to be kept in the loop. It's maybe that difficulty of thinking, oh, I'm contacting the same person again and again to take me to something or to show up and help me out with something. I feel like I'm not kind of spreading this out. I'm going to keep it on a calendar that so and so came and helped me with that, so that I'm not always going to one person or constantly neglecting someone else. They might feel like, hey, I'm helpful too. The hours part of that is coordinating on maybe getting somewhere, on who you have chosen. You're in control. You're driving this. You're only as old as you act. You are deciding who is going to be there with you for a medical appointment, maybe a different person for a financial appointment, maybe even a third person for a legal appointment. And then there's that person that you just want to do things with. And instead of doing it alone, maybe you're living alone a lot or spending a lot of time alone, and you think, wait a minute, I'm getting out of the habit of inviting another person into my life, a peer, someone older, someone younger, to be part of what I'm doing. So calendar coordination is a little different as you age.
It's communication is so important, and this is a very important aspect of that communication. This calendar coordination with yours, mine, and ours. And I know it's important for you and I to always be coordinating, but for me, the calendar is so important because you'll ask me, "Oh, when is this or where is that happening?" And I'll tell you, I don't know. And I don't have to know because it's on my calendar.
Yes, or how long has it been? It's really
Mhm,
good to flip back if you're doing paper or
mhm.
to scroll back and find out, "Oh, that was a long time ago," or "It was only 2 weeks ago." I've had so much going on
That's
in my
right.
life. We got a late start to this, and I see that we're at the usual goodbye time, but there's 2 things I want to make sure about before
Mhm.
we close up, and one is to acknowledge who has been commenting in the chat column. I don't know, can you check all 3 of them, the LinkedIn.
So so everything is here, and so, Charlotte has been, our
Thank you,
faithful commenter
Charlotte.
this morning, and so it's, very exciting to see. Charlotte is such a wonderful person, such a great supporter, and,
Mhm.
was there as, uh, as a part of your book launch, and so that was really,
Yes.
enjoyable to have Charlotte there,
She
and,
has given me words of encouragement, and Charlotte, I wanna have, Scott share with you some words of encouragement that I received in, in my messages,
mhm.
almost a week ago, maybe about I'd have to look back at my calendar to see, but it seems like it was about 4 days ago that we heard from Christina Tayden. Do you
Mhm.
have those words right in front of you?
Yeah, yeah. So, Christina, she had written to you and said, "Thank you, Christine. I'm reading through your guide at present." So, this is the book, The Active Aging Volume 1, available on Amazon. "I'm reading through your guide at present. I've not finished it yet. I'll keep reading it over the weekend. I think
Oh,
it's great. You have many gems, which I have already highlighted. I particularly like your emphasis on emotional memory and relationships." And I'll just remind people that this book is available on Amazon. It's a Kindle, but you can, when you're reading, you can highlight parts in your Kindle just like you would with a paper book. So she was highlighting that and like the parts about emotional memory and relationships. I have found that crucial in my work as well as my as a music therapist, caregiver. I'm enjoying the read, honestly. Honestly, great job. So so she is a music therapist and caregiver. So that's Christina Tayden.
she has best friends who are 96 also, and she has her own endeavor, that will be my word maybe when I'm not sure if it's a business or a concept or a podcast. She has
Mhm,
her own endeavor called Memcara. And it is a program, and it is something that you can put into effect in the home with your loved one or in any kind of a gathering community facility with people. And I'm very interested to find out how much of it has to do with music or how much of it has to do with what she has learned from caregiving, because the act of aging and the whole premise of pre-acting your age as a prompted journal,
mhm,
it grew out of my own caregiving experiences as I stood shoulder to shoulder or across the room from loved ones of my clients who made such good comments,
mhm,
questions that I was searching for the answers. And with many people who have come up with innovations, they said, "I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I created it." And so this has been my part to create the pre-act of aging prompted journal system. It is available on the Kindle book, The
mhm,
of Aging. You can click on the links. You can print out if you'd like, one or all of those prompted journal, um,
mhm.
pages, and
Yep.
you can also, if you'd like, click and see me explaining a little bit more about going through that because it's about pre-planning.
Hmm.
you're aging from the standpoints of your emotional and relational outcomes.
Well, as we wind down, I'll just say about not only do you share with Christina a similar name, Christine and Christina, but and I had put this in the link, memcara, memcara.com.
Mhm.
Not only do you share a similar name, you also share a love for alliteration. So if you go there, it's going to say the online memory care platform for seniors, music, movement, and memory.
It is helpful to our memory to think of rhyming words or alliteration. There is something about it that tickles a different part of the brain, and I
Yeah.
noticed that working with people, going into deeper stages of dementia, that some of those things like songs stay to the last moment.
Hmm. Well, with that, I am going to jump out because we're going to wind down. And as always, I'd like to have you get the last word.
My last word is simple. Thank you very much to my husband, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener. That's what you're going to want to look up because he has done lots of interviews. Today, you were willing to fiddle with a few electrons and make sure that this show happened. And a week from this Friday, so April 15th, 2022, at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, I get to be your guest, and so you get to grill me and, try to befuddle me. I'm just harking back to Russ this morning. And so, my simple last word is thank you so much for making all of this happen.